Hello everyone, welcome to IP Study video lectures. Today we will discuss grade 8 science chapter sound. In this chapter we will understand what is sound. We will learn about oscillatory motion, amplitude, frequency and time period of a sound, musical instruments, what is noise, speed of the sound and noise pollution and its impacts. So what do you understand by the term sound? Sound is a type of energy. It's a form of energy. If you notice your surroundings, you may hear different types of sound. Sounds of honking vehicles, sounds of chirping birds, sound of aeroplanes, sound of dogs barking outside, and sounds of bell, doorbell or any other kind of bell, like in the bells in the worship places. They have different types of sound. So these all sounds are produced with the help of vibrations. How these vibrations are produced? Vibrations are produced when a surface is struck by any object. In this chapter, we will learn how to produce sound, how our body is identifying and collecting that sound, and how this sound is affecting our surroundings. So first of all, let's understand what is sound. Sound is a form of energy that travels in the form of waves, and we call them sound waves. What are sound waves? Sound waves are the form of energy which is traveling in form of waves. We hear sound waves when they strike against our eardrum. So when sound is produced in the surrounding, first of all, a surface is struck by an object. That surface vibrates, means the particles of that surface vibrates to produce the sound. That sound travels through the ear, then it enters in our ear and it strikes the eardrum inside our ear, and our brain analyzes the message of that vibration on the eardrum and help us to hear the sound. So we can check which type of objects are able to produce sound. If you notice different objects in your surrounding and if you tap on these objects, you will be able to find out which materials produces sound and what type of sound is produced by those materials. Check this activity number 1. Prepare a list of 10 different types of sounds you hear. Identify the objects of beings. Living beings also can be producing sound, like I am speaking and I am producing sound, whether living or non-living. So first of all, you need to observe different objects in the surrounding, classify them as living and non-living sources of sound. Specify which sound is the loudest and which one is the faintest. The loudest sound means the sound with higher frequency, or we can say it can be heard to extreme distance. And the faintest sound is very low sound. It cannot spread in farther distances, or we can say we can hear it only for a little distance. Now check activity number 2. Finding out how sound is made. So how do you produce sound? If you clap your hands, do you produce a sound? So what is happening when you are clapping your hands? When you are clapping, your palms are striking each other. These are hitting each other to produce the sound. And in that case, the particles of the skin of your palm is producing sound by vibrating the particles here. Prepare a list of various objects around you that produce the sound. For example, different musical instruments, and write down which type of sound is produced by each of them. A few sound producing instruments are given here. For example, a bell, a mridang, a veena, guitar and flute. So which part of these instruments is producing the sound? If you notice the mridang, there is a percussion screen. What is percussion screen? There is a membrane which is stretched on the hollow wooden cylinder which is hit to produce the sound. So in that case we can say that mridang is a percussion sound instrument. In case of veena and guitar, there are metal wire strings which are made very thin or which are made with different thickness and different length, and these are struck to produce the sound. So here we can say veena and guitar are string sound instruments. Flute, what about the flute or trumpet? We blow air into a trumpet or flute to produce the sound. So when air particles are moving through the hollow columns, hollow tubes of the flute or a trumpet, these particles are vibrating to produce sound, and these instruments are called wind sound instruments. How does sound travel? So if I say a material is vibrating, it is transforming some energy, and that energy is converted into waves. It is moving forward in form of waves. So here we can say that the sound moves or it travels in form of waves like ripples in water. When an object vibrates, it produces sound. The vibrating object in turn vibrates the particle of the air which is in contact with the vibrating object. The vibrating particles of air push the other particle in the nearby areas, and that's how now this energy is transferred to the next layer of particles in the nearby spaces. And similar way, these particles start vibrating, and when they come in contact with the next layer of the particles, they transfer that energy. So that's how when sound is produced from an object, the vibration from the source object are transferred to the air particles in the surrounding, and these air particles start vibrating. Then these particles strike the next layer of the particles in the surrounding. The next layer start vibrating, and that's how it goes on repeatedly, so that the sound can propagate or it can travel. When we talk about the propagation of sound or traveling of the sound, what we need to propagate that? When you are traveling from one place to other, you need a transport system. Similarly, sound waves also need a transport system, or we can say the vibration needs a transport system. What is that transport system? This transport system can be a liquid, solid or gas material. Sound required some medium to travel. The medium can be air, water or a solid such as a metal wire. Why we are talking repeatedly about using the metals to produce sound? If you notice different instruments which are producing sound, these are having some metal pieces there to produce the sound. So we can say that metals have certain property which is helping here to produce sound. What is that property? We already have discussed this in previous chapters. This is sonoricity, or sonoricity is the property of sound which produces sound waves or sound energy by vibrating, and most of the metal produces sound. So if we compare all types of sound producing instrument, which of these instruments are producing the loudest sound? Some instruments produce shrill sound which is very sharp like a flute or trumpet. Some are producing very loud sound which can be heard at far distances, like from one mountain to the other mountain also. So here you will notice the object which have solid surfaces, they are producing the loudest sound. So here we can say that sound is traveling faster and producing the louder sound by solid materials. If we compare the speed of sound in 3 different types of materials, which are solid, liquid and gases, you will find out that the speed of sound is highest in solid, then in liquids, and then in gas. What happens if there is no medium in the surrounding? Will you be able to hear the sound? When a medium is absent, we cannot hear the sound. Like this. You can see it here. You are speaking on one end and your friend is holding the other paper cup over his ear, so that when you are speaking, it can propagate your sound and you can hear the sound. What is the condition or what you need to keep in mind while making this apparatus? That the string should be long enough so that you are standing at enough distances, and when you are speaking, you are only whispering in the cup. You are not speaking loudly, otherwise your friend will be able to hear itself in the room. So you are only whispering inside the cup and your friend is able to hear your whisper, even though he is standing at some distance from you. Sound waves. The vibrating particles of the matter propagate sound in every direction. So when you are speaking, it's not like that the person only standing in front of you is able to hear you. Every person surrounding you is able to hear you, because from the source, means when you are speaking, you are the source. So from the source, the vibrations are moving in all directions. It is surrounding you, and that's why every person surrounding you is able to hear you. Sound detection. What is detection? Means identifying that. When a sound is produced, we can identify the source of the sound. Also, we can differentiate between different types of sound. The sound can be loud, a sound can be faint, sound can be very shrill, very sharp. So, we can identify these different types of sound, and for this, our ears and brain is helping us. Let us understand the structure of ear. Our ear is divided into 3 parts: the outer ear, the middle ear and the inner ear. The part of the ear that you can see, it is the external ear. It is like a funnel. It is collecting all the sound waves. So we can say it is the receiver, funnel shaped receiver to collect the sound waves from the surrounding. This part of the ear is also known as external ear, and we call it ear pinna. Then we have a ear canal. This ear canal to the ear drum is making your middle ear. And then we have an inner ear which is transmitting the sound waves to your brain. Now understand few important terms related to the sound. What are these different terms? First is oscillatory motion. What type of motion is presented by a vibrating particle? That is oscillatory motion. Amplitude, frequency and the time period. Let's discuss these things in detail. Now check figure number 10.9. We already have discussed oscillatory motion when we studied different types of motion in previous grades. Let's revise that. So here, if you recall the movement of a swing, forward and backward, to and fro, or the movement of a pendulum, that is oscillatory motion. Similarly, a vibrating particle oscillate, or it shows oscillatory motion around its mean position. So what happens when a pendulum is moving? If assume this is a pendulum has a strong string where we have a bob connected at the free end of the string. So what happens when this pendulum moves? It goes to its extreme position in one direction, then comes back, it returns to the mean position, which is the resting state, then goes in other direction to the extreme position, and then again returns to the mean position. That's how a oscillatory motion occurs. When a vibratory particle gets energized, means when a particle gets energy from the vibration, it start oscillating, means it start moving to its extreme position around its mean position. So when one complete oscillation is occurring, it is taking a certain time. That time is called the time period of the oscillation. Alright, so what is happening here? First of all, a particle is getting some energy through the vibration. Then it is moving around its mean position to extreme distances around its mean position. This extreme displacement from its mean position is called the amplitude. Means a particle start moving from its resting state when it is vibrated and it goes into an extreme direction, or we can say it travels an extreme distance. That distance is called amplitude, or we can say that displacement is called the amplitude. It covers extreme distances or extreme displacement in a certain period. That time period is called the time period. And how many times it is repeating this oscillatory motion, that is called the frequency. So let's revise these terms here. The to and fro motion of the pendulum or oscillatory object, or we can say the vibrating particle about its mean position, is called one vibration or one oscillation. This motion is also called oscillatory motion. Furthermore, the maximum displacement of the vibrating particle or pendulum from its mean position or around its mean position is called the amplitude. The number of vibration completed by this oscillatory particle or vibrating particle makes its frequency, and the time required to produce one vibration, means time required to complete one oscillatory motion around its mean position, is called the time period. This is exactly what happens when a material vibrates. So here we can take a tuning fork. You can find it in your physics laboratories or science laboratories. Tuning fork has two ends like this, which can produce sound by vibration. On the end B, you need to hold the tuning fork and hit the terminal A and C on a surface to produce the vibration. When the vibration is produced by hitting this tuning fork, the sound is produced because the vibrations are now transferred to the air particles. These air particles are carrying those sound waves to your ears. Then your ear is sending the message of this sound vibration to your brain, and that's how you are able to hear the sound of vibrating tuning fork. Now, what is the amplitude of this tuning fork? The maximum displacement AB or BC in case of vibrating tuning fork means strand AB and the strand BC. It will move around, or it will move in the to and fro motion around their mean position. So that maximum displacement from their mean position will be called the amplitude of arm AB and arm BC of the tuning fork. Frequency, how many times this oscillates, this is called the frequency. Time period, how much time it is taking for this oscillation, is called the time period. To calculate the frequency, we need a unit. The standard unit of calculating the frequency is Hertz. What is Hertz? Hertz is the SI unit of calculating or measuring the frequency, means how many times a vibration is occurring to produce the sound. If the frequency of a tuning fork is 256 Hz, it means it is producing 250 vibrations in 1 second. So we can say the frequency is the number of vibrations per minute. Here we denote the frequency by mu. It's not V, it's mu. And the time period by capital T. So, what is the relationship between the time period and the frequency? Time period and frequency are inversely proportional to each other. Means, if one physical quantity is increasing, the other will decrease. If the time period is increasing, the frequency will decrease. If the frequency is increasing, the time period will decrease. By understanding these terms, we can differentiate different types of sound, whether the sound is loud or soft. When particles vibrate to produce sound, they use energy because sound is a form of energy. They produce the sound which can be loud sound or it can be a faded or low sound. To produce a loud sound, the particle have to vibrate farther away from the mean position. It needs to cover more displacement. To oscillate particles to a greater distance, more energy is required. For example, if you need to travel more distance, you need more fuel in your vehicle. Means more energy will be required to move that vehicle. Similarly, the particles which are vibrating covers more distance, more amplitude with more energy. This explains why a drum makes a louder sound if you beat it harder, and in doing so you use more energy. So if you are asked to produce loud sound by hitting a drum, so what do? You put your energy with more efforts. If you are asked to shout, so you use more energy to produce the loud sound while shouting. As a result, the particle vibrate with greater magnitude and therefore produce a loud sound. A part of the energy that is used to produce sound gets converted into sound waves. We know that the different forms of energy can transform from one form to the other form. Same principle is applicable here when you are using your energy to make louder sound. Means when you are using energy to shout, this energy is transformed into sound waves which are producing higher vibrations at higher frequency in the air particles, so that you can produce a louder sound. A very loud sound has a greater amount of energy and would therefore vibrate the eardrum with tremendous force, and if the sound is very loud, it can tear your eardrum. It can damage your eardrum. Such damage to the eardrum would lead to deafness. Means you will not be able to hear any sound if your eardrum is not receiving that sound and it is transmitting it to the brain. So what we need to do here? We need to take care of our ears and we need to eliminate ourselves from the louder sound, or we need to produce lower sound. Any loud sound, including loud music, therefore is harmful. Repeated honking of the vehicle is also harmful. Hearing music at loud noise or shouting constantly, it is harmful for your ears. Devices like earphone are capable of generating loud sounds directly into your ears. So if you are using earphones for longer time, you are damaging your hearing ability. Loudness and pitch of a sound also defines the type of sound. So what is loudness and pitch? Loudness of a sound depends on the amplitude of a sound wave. If a particle has more energy, it will move more distance from its mean position, means it will make a larger amplitude. This time the sound will be louder. If there is less energy to a vibrating particle, it will move a little extent from its mean position means it will move to a little amplitude, and that kind of sound will be faded sound or low sound. Do you enjoy the constant speaking or shouting in the classroom? What do you consider that? It's a pleasant sound or the noise? Do your teacher ask you that speak softly, do not make noise? Do not make noise means do not speak louder and do not speak constantly at higher notes. In 16th century, Vitala temple at Hampi in Karnataka poses with unique feature. It has 56 pillars, each of which produces a different musical notes when tapped. Means these are designed in a manner that these can produce different types of musical notes, musical sounds. Let's revise musical instruments here. Music is a combination of sound waves arranged in orderly manner which can be a pleasant sound and which can be enjoyed. Musical instruments are created to produce pleasant sound. To create melodious music, one has to learn to play a musical instrument. We cannot just start playing any instrument. We need to understand how these musical notes are produced to create the enjoyable music. Musical instrument can be classified as string, wind, percussion, keyboard and electronic musical instrument. What is noise? As we already discussed, noise is an unpleasant sound. So any kind of unpleasant sound in your surrounding is called noise. For example, when you are resting and someone is constantly speaking or producing loud sound by tapping any surface, do you enjoy that? No, because this is interrupting your sleep. Also, it is unbearable. It is not enjoyable. So, we call it an unpleasant sound means noise. The intensity of a sound is measured by a unit called decibel. A sound that can barely be heard by a person with good hearing is given by a 0 decibel. Do you know that we can hear a certain range of sound only? We cannot hear all types of vibration. We cannot hear all the sounds of vibrations. Human ear can bear sound up to 80 decibels. Exposure to sound of higher decibel values can cause various health problems and damage to the ear. What are these health problems? It can cause disturbances in the sleep patterns. It can cause irritating behavior. It can cause headaches. Noise pollution. What is noise pollution? Any sound at higher pitch, louder sound which is unpleasant is considered as noise pollution. As we have learned, some sound can be disturbing, such as a drop of water trickling into an empty bucket, barking of dogs at night, and sound of a speeding motor vehicle at night because it is disturbing your sleep. This can be annoying and disturbing, and it is producing a noise pollution. Even loud music can also produce noise. It is considered as noise. Unwanted sound gives rise to what is known as the noise pollution. So, if you are constantly speaking and shouting in your classroom, you are producing a noise pollution. You are producing the noise. Or if your friend is reading quietly and you are constantly speaking or reading loudly in the neighborhood, you are producing a noise and you are becoming the cause of noise pollution. Sounds that are loud, annoying or harmful to the human ear contribute to the noise pollution. Any louder sound which is disturbing the surrounding is causing the noise pollution. What are the effects of these noise pollution? Noise pollution can have detrimental effects on the health and the behavior. If constantly there is a construction work happening in your neighborhood, so there will be a lot of machineries which are used there, lot of tapping and hammering will be there. So will you be able to have a calm sleep? No. If you are not having a calm sleep because of the noise pollution, how will you behave on the next day in your classroom? You will be irritated, you will be annoying. So we can say the noise pollution affected your sleep patterns, affected your sleep, which resulted into your behavior, means it impacted your behavior and the health. You might have constant headache, you might have some irritation in your eyes because your sleep is not completed and you are not enjoying the surrounding because of the noise. Regular exposure to noise can have side effects, making them ill-tempered, restless, and potentially leading to the high blood pressure and heart problem. So, a single act of producing noise can harm you, can affect you in various manners. Excessive noise disturbs the sleep, leads to a lack of concentration, especially among the students. So what should you do? You should ensure when you are sleeping, your room should be calm. There should not be any source of noise. It can also cause headaches and earaches. A sudden loud blast can tear the eardrum. Means if you play with crackers and you use the crackers with loud noise. So what can happen? It can produce a very loud sound shock, and these rapid vibrating sound waves can tear your eardrum and cause you the permanent loss of hearing. How to control noise pollution? What we can do? Eliminate the source. Is it the simple solution? No, it's not possible every time. For example, we cannot eliminate the honks from all the vehicle. We need it there, but we can decide when to use it or how many times we need to use it while driving. So what we can do here? If you are enjoying music, you like to hear the music, what you should do? Should you play it at the loudest voice, loudest volume? No, it can disturb the other people in your house, animals in your neighborhood, and the people in your neighborhood. So if you like to hear the music, what you should do? You can hear the music in your room at slow volume. So noise is mainly produced by motor vehicle, aircraft and machinery because they produce higher vibration. But we also contribute in producing the noise. Avoid using loudspeakers during celebrations. What we do? We often have late night celebration and we enjoy celebration by playing the loud music. Is it wise action? No, it is disturbing your neighborhood. Do not play loud music. Do not drive motor vehicles at higher speed with continuous honking in any neighborhood, not only in residential areas. When you are passing through a hospital, when you are passing through a school and you constantly honk, so you are disturbing patients and you are disturbing the concentration of students or learners who are enjoying learning in the school. Use horn only when it is necessary. Avoid busting firecrackers. That makes loud noise. Also, firecrackers pollute the air. Plant trees in your surrounding because they are absorber of sound. That is why we are suggested to build the green belts in the residential areas and in the industrial areas. So if there is a factory, we should plant more trees around the factory or around any industrial area. We should plant more trees in our neighborhood, whether it is a market, it's a hospital, it's a school, or it's a colony. Why? Because plants absorb the loud sound waves and it reduces the noise pollution. So in this chapter, we have learned how the sound is produced, how different objects are classified based on the production of sound through them, or we can say how the musical instruments are classified based on the type of sound they are producing and the way they are producing the sound. What types of sound are pleasant and what type of sound are noise. How our ear is working to enable us hear the sound. How the sound is produced by a vibrating particle and what are the important terms related to the production of sound, such as the amplitude, frequency, loudness, shrillness, and the time period of the sound. Do you know that we cannot hear each type of sound? We can hear the frequencies between 20 to 20,000 hertz. We cannot hear a sound which is lower than the 20 hertz. That type of sound is called the infrasound. And we cannot hear any sound which is higher than the 20,000 hertz, which is known as ultrasound. But some animals can hear these type of sound, means the infrasounds and the ultrasounds. For example, dolphins and whales can hear ultrasound. Dogs, bats can hear these kind of infra and ultra sounds. And one more interesting fact is that animals use their ability to identify ultrasound and infrasound for their movement. For example, whales, dolphins and bat, they use sound waves to travel in their surroundings. That's it for the day. We will see you with another topic in the next video. Thank you.